He's Takamori, her classmate, and she knows his secret. He has a big crush on her. How would she know that? Since she was little, she can hear people's thoughts. This gift feels more like a curse since society views her as useless. Good news, no trauma issues. It's clear it doesn't bother her now. Things changed when she sat next to Takamori. She knows he thinks Minami is cute as always. Can he just be quiet for once? Takamori is an introvert, but he attracts a lot of attention from girls because of his looks. His personality is pretty dull when it comes to romance, which is confusing. He simply said thanks to the girl for the gift. Minami noticed that no boy has ever called her cute, at least not while she's reading their minds. Can Takamori control his urges and avoid awkward thoughts around her? Her intense stare grabbed his attention, but she quickly pulled back when she realized it. Takamori dropped his eraser. Minami saw it and grabbed it for him. Takamori looks into Minami's eyes as she returns his item, surprising her with how close their faces are. It's crazy she's wasting all that energy on someone like him. She's a goddess. She's really nice. I really love her. Minami's face went bright red. She's at a loss for words when faced with such bold statements. Takamori noticed he might have stared into her eyes a bit too long. Minami's unsure about her hands. I can't handle this anymore. Takamori thinks he should keep the eraser as an heirloom since she touched it while cooling down. Minami has a different version of himself. When he confessed his love, he shone like the sun. At this rate, she might actually die of embarrassment. This has happened before. In kindergarten, she fainted from embarrassment when the teacher patted her head. I think it's a she problem. These rare cases will cause more lethal damage than cold names. He didn't agree to share his thoughts with her. Minami read his mind without him knowing. She feels bad for him because of her power. She can clear her mind like a monk, filtering out wandering thoughts through years of training. This guy is unique. She'd rather be insulted and hated than overly praised. She finds it easier to understand. What if she tries to make him hate her? That might work, and she can have a peaceful high school life again. Yep, exactly. If he talks bad about her, she can just ignore him like anyone else. But how is she going to do that? She can't just say she hates him for no reason. Takamori asks Minami for the teaching materials because he might have left his book behind. She doesn't mind them sharing. This could be the right opportunity. Minami quickly takes back her statement and says she won't show him the study materials. Hope this works out. How's that guy? A girl you like just broke your heart by keeping her distance. Takamori will see her as just a petty girl. Now he'll hate her for sure, and she can study in peace. Being a villain kinda sucks, and it's gonna be awkward since I'm right next to him. She glances over, concerned she may have gone too far. Takamori still thinks she looks too cute. What's going on? No effect. Takamori finds it unusual for Minami to act like that, so he'll hold on to this memory forever. He just said okay. She apologized and handed over her textbook. He's thrilled to see so many sides of her in one day. Why can't he just grab the book and go? Can you just be quiet? In the women's restroom, she takes a breath after everything that just happened. What's going on with her? Why is she being treated like this? How could he have the nerve to compliment her? She's never met anyone so obsessed with her. If this keeps up, he's gonna drive her crazy. She wants him to hate her. Her head might just blow up. She's really embarrassed and feels like she's about to pass out. She has to go all out. Just one thing to do now. Minami calls out to Takamori from the school roof. He said it's fine, but he's really just enjoying the moment. He'll lock this moment in his memory. What does she want to talk about with him? What's his opinion of her? If the cliché holds, she should make him confess, then harshly reject him, leading to his breakdown. Romance movies will make this a success. She doesn't hate him, but her sanity comes first. It's cool if he said he hates her. Is she actually okay with that? A full essay, as long as a Shakespeare book, zips through his mind at light speed. His face is all red. He loves her and believes she's precious, needing protection at all costs. She's really cute. Her cuteness is deadly. Minami's brain began to glitch. Oh, she's seeing stars. She collapses from too much joy. Takamori checks in on her and offers a hand to help her up. She's almost out of it now. One morning, she greeted Takamori. He thinks she's really cute today, as usual. Why does the first thing in his tiny brain think she's cute? He's as annoying as ever. She's really embarrassed now. She'd prefer if he completely hated her and insulted her. She needs an idea, making Takamori hate her fast. The class will end, and she's worn out from listening to his honest thoughts again. He's been thinking about her the whole class. He seems totally unfazed mentally. How can one boy be so determined? The table is soaked with her sweat. She wants to make a quick getaway. She can't walk right anymore. She keeps walking, but feels lighter than normal. Why did she have to forget her bag today of all days? This is a first. If he hadn't thought of her, this wouldn't have happened. She opened the door and saw Takamori at his table. She's wondering why he's still in class. School's done now. The teacher asked him to create the test. Seriously? What kind of teacher relies so heavily on one student? She feels it's unfair and wants to help. She stops halfway. Hold up. If she helps him, he's going to spill some embarrassing stuff again. Then she'll meet God. Minami decided to leave him alone, even though she felt guilty all over. Minami grabs her bag and leaves, apologizing in her head. He'll probably see her as just another nice person who walks away. She stops right outside the classroom. She thought she beat the voices in her head, but she's still weak. She hears Takamori thinking about her. He thinks she's nice, even though she left him there. Takamori appreciates that she even talks to him, considering how boring and plain he is. She's nice for caring about him. Minami is in the corridor, unsure of what to say. For once, she feels comfortable and happy instead of embarrassed. Her legs gave out, and she thinks he's kind too. She feels bad for leaving him alone. She might still help him with grading the tests. She can't do that. What if she ends up in the hospital after this? She leaves before she has regrets and returns to him. In the end, guilt won, and she came back. She figured she could finish grading quicker before she faints again. Takamori appreciates her for staying up with him. Can he just stop talking and focus on his work? She asks him for an extra pen when hers runs out of ink. He handed her his other pen, and they touched when she took it. Minami quickly pulls her hand back after realizing she touched him without asking. Takamori is totally okay with it.
There's something profoundly intimate and magical about touching hands.
Her temperature is going up fast. She's about to pass out. She fell to the ground from embarrassment. Yeah, she's going to die if things keep going like this. Takamori is concerned because she suddenly knelt down. Stop acting like that. This is your fault. She still doesn't get how they can keep that poker face. The Tatsini's head is wild, but he doesn't seem embarrassed at all. How can that happen physically? Why is she the only one getting it? That's unfair. He never confessed. But she can just say she hates him since they're alone in the classroom. She's going to make him confess this time.
I was wondering.
She yelled his name loudly.
Takamori,
Is he into her?
do you like me?
Her face is red and she struggles to make eye contact, even though she's speaking loudly. His eyes lit up, like something inside him just woke up. He looks away. Takamori struggles to share his true feelings. Minami wants him to pause for a sec. She can't take it. Minami feels embarrassed about what she just said. No matter his answer, she's going to the hospital. She wants him to forget this ever happened and says goodbye. She shut the door hard, leaving Takamori behind. His body language starts to show his true feelings. What just happened? Who would have guessed she saw him like that? What caught him off guard? She walks home, realizing she just made a big change. Again after twisting her leg. She could have just let anyone help her. It's too late now. She's had this light in her life from the beginning. She starts to cry, feeling alone in the world. Then, someone calls her name. Takamori here. He's concerned about her condition and why she starts crying out of nowhere. Is she fine? She brightens when she realizes someone cares enough to help her. She hides her face, questioning why Takamori is around. Is he in class now? He quickly checked on her after hearing she got hurt in class. If he says that, he knows she'll get mad. Takamori just makes up a lie about forgetting something in the classroom. Takamori is concerned about her worsening injury. Minami hides her feelings, claiming she's fine and there's nothing to worry about. He's just fine sitting on the ground here. She wants him to go back to class, or he'll get in trouble with the teacher. He suddenly grabs her arm. He's taking her to the nurse's office because she doesn't look good. Did he just... What happened? My heart's about to burst. Takamori jumps into action without thinking, particularly in serious situations. She starts seeing stars again. I want to avoid physical and mental harm. Takamori knelt and offered to carry her. What's going on? Is she imagining things now? What's going on here? Takamori wants to protect his loved ones. No bad intentions involved. She never thought a boy classmate would carry her like this. This is really awkward. Every day brings something new. She worries about being too heavy to carry, but he insists she's light. Just get me down now. This might be risky. If she gets here now, she'll probably faint on him and just be more of a hassle. She tries to block out all the voices in her head. Takamori finds it impressive that she avoids bothering others, even if accepting help could be better for her. She can overdo things sometimes. This is the first time he thought something other than he's cute. Takamori wants to depend on others more. He'd be glad if she can count on him. If that happens, he'd be really happy. Minami feels something strange in her heart. It's a nice, warm feeling. Takamori suddenly asks if she has a fever because her temperature has been rising. Minami just wants him to speed it up. Takamori told her to stay still while he called the nurse in the infirmary. She shouts his name. Minami appreciated his kindness. He was the only one who cared. She offered to carry him if he gets hurt next time as a way to repay his help. Takamori doesn't get what she means. Minami flexes her muscles, claiming she's stronger than she appears. She looks skinny, but she can carry him like a princess. She can pay back the debt and make him feel uncomfortable since no guy wants a girl who shows that much masculinity at her age. Minami claims she has a strange personality, but it didn't matter because he thinks that part of her is cute too. That compliment blows her mind. The nurse came and wondered if she had a high fever. On a sunny school day, Minami calls for Takamori. She wants his phone for a moment, for some reason. He's cool with it and lets her borrow it. He senses something's off, but she pops up on his phone as he stares at her blankly. She handed his phone back to him. She says goodbye as she leaves the classroom. What did she do with his phone? Hold up, what's going on here? He has 4 contact numbers, and now he finally has his first friend on the list. What did he do to get this? Minami giggles to herself while making her way to retrieve it. She seems okay with him now. Maybe she does. She giggled when she got to her doorstep. She finally got his contact information. She can send him tons of stickers and keep calling him. Yeah, Takamori will regret adding her. He'll be so annoyed he won't even bother to annoy her at school. He can just be quiet. This plan works for sure. Her calm high school life is back. Minami keeps giggling to herself, stuck in her own little world. Let's annoy him already. He got a message from Minami at home. She told Takamori she just got home. Half an hour later, she thinks about when he'll reply. 1 hour later, he still hasn't replied to her messages. Is he home yet? 2 hours later, she wonders what he's up to. Is he sleeping or what? Hold up, he left her on red. Can we really just ignore his only friend? Why did he leave her on red? She's concerned about annoying him. But wouldn't that be reaching her goal? If he were here, she could read his mind. Minami isn't sure what he's thinking. On the other side, he's glad she's texting him for the first time. Can't believe a day like this is here. Thank the gods for both. How will he reply to her messages? Should he just say he got home too? Isn't that a bit plain? What if she misreads it and thinks he doesn't like her? Should he use smiley faces and signs to ensure his message is clear? Hold on, that's actually worse. He'll come off as a total creep who can't even start a conversation. Ting Takamori. How can I reply to her message in a friendly and respectful way without coming off as creepy? She got startled by a sound from her phone. Finally got a response from him. That guy. He just sent a sticker. She waited hours for one sticker? It seems like he's the one messing with her. He's already trying to wrap up the chat even though she hasn't sent many messages yet. She should be happy. Takamori got down because he can't text well and struggles to express his thoughts. He puts his phone down. Let's take a moment to think. Why would Minami message someone like him? Takamori believes he's too plain and boring to be interesting in conversation. He just needs to improve his social skills, but he believes it's impossible. His phone rang. It's shown already. Why does she want to call him now? Is this urgent? Did his mom accidentally call him? Breathe in, breathe out. You've got this. Just be yourself. And keep your usual tone. Minami's happy. Takamori answered her call. She wondered why he hadn't replied. So she called him. Takamori attempted to apologize because his communication skills are lacking. She laughs it off and says she gets it if he's busy. Takamori is stuck on what to say next. Things got awkward fast when the conversation stopped. The conversation just stopped. Even though they're just on a call. How can that happen? In person, she usually knows what's on his mind. She thought he'd be more talkative, given his imagination. Turns out he's a quiet lone wolf. Minami wants to keep talking since she called him first. Takamori was told to look outside. He opens the balcony door. What's out there? A full moon is a rare sight. It glows in the night sky. The city lights create a romantic vibe. She finds it beautiful and wonders if he can see it too. He's on the phone with Minami, looking at the same moon. He has a lot to say. He can't turn his thoughts into clear sentences. It's frustrating. If he could see what's on his mind, he'd be happier. He felt worn out from daily activities. He saw Minami helping an old lady. He can't help but glance her way. He can't take his eyes off. He found his first true love then, Takamori says to Minami. The moon is beautiful, right? That got her heart to open up. In Japan, this can mean I love you. Wait, what? Did he really say what she thinks he said? Her arm strength started to fade. She accidentally drops her phone on the ground. It surprised her. What does he mean by that? Stop thinking about that. The moon is beautiful, not that poem. It's about her. Later, he's surprised she just hung up. His little sister is curious about what he's doing outside. She overheard their chat and wonders if that's his girlfriend. He says no. He said the moon is beautiful, just like in the poem. Does that mean I love you? Oh no. Here's a funny story. He really messed up this time. This is why Minami hung up on him out of nowhere. Those Japanese literature pieces are something else. His sister believes it's disrespectful to say that to a girl if he doesn't mean it. Takamori gets his act together and admits he loves her, even if it was an accident. Minami wakes up feeling energized, recalling what he said last night. No worries. Takamori probably forgot all that already. She says hi to Takamori like always, but she's really hot. She keeps mumbling about random stuff. Minami attempted to take out the whole dictionary. She has excuses ready all the time. Just toss those memories in the bin. She wants Takamori to move on from last night. He coldly said, "All right." Takamori is still acting cold as usual. He should be glad it wasn't a confession like she thought it was last night. He wants to be clear about his feelings for her. Hold up, what did he say? He blushes, realizing he can't take back what he said. So, it was a confession, huh? She dropped to the ground. Her body isn't functioning anymore. A new arc is coming up. In cooking class, she wants students to group up and make curry. She looks worried because that memory won't leave her mind. Why did he want her to remember that time? Is this a real confession? He never actually said I love you. No need to think about it anymore. Someone caught her eye. She wants to help her cut the vegetables because it might be risky. She starts to fall apart, and the other students glance over. She fell again, and now the utensils are on the floor. Her classmate asked if she's okay. She replied that she's fine. She's always aware of him. She cuts the vegetables with her eyes closed out of embarrassment and accidentally slices her finger with the knife. She accidentally cut her finger and felt pain. Takamori dresses for her. Did she get hurt? She raises her hands and says, she's fine. It's not a big deal. Takamori knows she fights through pain, so he tries to put a bandage on her. She's still adjusting to this. The bleeding has stopped now. He asked her to be more careful next time because he's worried about her safety. With her clumsy nature, something's sure to happen again. Minami can respond since her bottled up feelings are dominating her thoughts. She takes a deep breath and gets even more energized to make the curry. She dumps all the sugar from the bag into the soup, and it catches fire. Can someone in the classroom please stop her from doing anything else? That woman is losing it. She made something that's somewhat edible. This is what happened because of her rebellion. Time for the taste test. You can hardly chew the food. She felt full after eating just one spool of her meal. She apologized for her recklessness caused by Takamori. No one wants her food. They should just give it to Takamori. This will make him think she's a bad housewife. She takes her dish to Takamori. If he's hungry, he can have her meal. He looks at her with no expression. He removes his hat and picks up the spoon. They can't believe he'd really eat it. He's probably the bravest guy around. He chews the curry and says it's the best he's ever had. What's happening? Getting to eat food made by his crush is a real treat. Takamori is impressive. He realized his body is rejecting the food, but his mind still thinks it's tasty. Minami's worried about a stomachache. He still thinks the food is good, which surprised her. If she cooks, he'll eat it. Minami gets embarrassed and says she can cook better for him later. She knows it's a total flop, but she usually cooks better than this. He should stop eating it just because she made it, so next time she'll cook something he'll enjoy. His face lights up. He wants to check if he was imagining it. She claims she can't handle anything complicated, but she's actually great at cooking. That curry is just too much. It could bring the plague. She wants to make it up to him because she gave him her inedible dish. Minami starts to worry that Takamori doubts her cooking skills. She takes his hand and says he's excited to try her dish. He plans to eat all her meals from now on. Minami starts seeing stars again. She wants him to show he's holding her hands, and he says, what dish should she make for him? She imagined him cooking for her husband, and it broke her mind. No way. Is he serious about that? She cooks for a boy super fast. The others wonder what the two are up to. This is the start of a new romantic relationship. Minami Kawa felt that things were getting worse with each passing moment, especially with how the recent events with Takamori had unfolded and how they had grown closer. She kept thinking of a way to make him hate her, and as she walked, she stepped on something without noticing and broke it. When she picked it up, she realized it was Takamori's pencil. Suddenly, he appeared behind her and asked what was going on. Startled, Minamikawa hid the pencil behind her back and greeted him nervously. She stood beside him, holding the pencil, trying to apologize. But Takamori wasn't paying attention to her. She tried to get his attention but failed. Frustrated, she didn't know what to do, so she rushed to the bathroom to think of a proper way to apologize. However, two parts of her mind battled. One told her it was fine since this was the perfect way to make him hate her, while the other guilted her for thinking that way, especially if the pen was something precious, like a memento from his grandmother. So she abandoned everything and ran out, wanting to apologize as soon as possible. She found him sitting in his spot and approached him quietly, calling his name. When he turned around, she struggled to get the words out, thinking about what to say. Just as she gathered her courage and finally apologized, one of their classmates interrupted, shouting, "Takamori, come here for a second." Takamori stood up and asked what she had been saying, but she became flustered and told him it was nothing and that he should go. He was puzzled by her behavior but didn't show it. She wished him good luck with a bright smile and a fake laugh, deciding that next time she would definitely apologize. During class, she whispered to him, trying to apologize, but the teacher called on her, ruining her plan. She kept trying during every class and every chance she got to see him, but it never happened. Every time she wanted to talk to him, he disappeared, and she spent the entire day searching for him, frustrated that she was running late. She called out for him everywhere, feeling disappointed that she couldn't find the right moment to apologize. She hadn't seen him even once that day, and she kept wondering how she could speak to him. That's when she realized something. All she had done today was think about Takamori, and that made her explode with embarrassment. She dropped to her knees, unable to stand, as the situation left her embarrassed yet again. She then wondered if he would be upset about her breaking his pencil. She was sure he would be, especially if it was important to him. With no other options, she decided to call him to that place again so they could be alone. They went up to the rooftop. Takamori had no idea why she had called him there. He felt like she had been wanting to tell him something all day and wondered if he had done something to upset her. He was scared that he might have smiled at her like a creep, and that's why she had called him. He started imagining her scolding and berating him for it, and he began trembling, sweating nervously, preparing himself to apologize. But Minamikawa interrupted him and apologized, showing him the broken pencil. He asked if that was his pen, and she nodded, her head lowered. With tears in her eyes, she told him that she had broken his precious pen by stepping on it and apologized, admitting that it had taken her some time to gather the courage to tell him. Takamori told her not to worry about it and finally understood why she had called him there. Minamikawa then asked if the pencil wasn't a memento from his grandmother. It turned out to be just an ordinary pencil from a store, worth about 100 yen. He told her it wasn't a memento, feeling confused since he hadn't even noticed that he had lost it. Minamikawa finally calmed down, but she still wanted to make it up to him, so she asked if he was free after school. Takamori stood there, looking at her, wondering to himself, isn't this basically a date? Minamikawa was surprised by his line of thought because she hadn't meant it that way, but Takamori didn't understand why she was making such a big deal out of it, considering it was just an ordinary pencil. He was impressed by her actions and her kindness, which felt unfair in a way. He kept wondering if she had wrapped the pencil in her handkerchief the whole time, intending to apologize. He concluded that she had been thinking about him all day. Minamikawa heard all of this and felt like her head was going to explode from embarrassment. Then, in a serious tone, Takamori said, "More importantly, completely free after this," while screaming in his mind, "It's an after-school date!" As for Minamikawa, she stood there, completely stunned. After school, they went out together, with Takamori still thinking of it as a date, while Minamikawa just wanted him to stop thinking that way. She kept wondering how things had ended up like this. They headed to a store that sold school supplies because Minamikawa couldn't forgive herself for breaking his pencil, so she decided to take him with her to replace it, far from anything related to dating. At that moment, she overheard some customers talking about Takamori, admiring his calmness and good looks. But Minamikawa was the only one who knew what was really going on in his head and could hear all his thoughts. He was extremely happy to be out with her, while Minamikawa wished that everyone could hear what he was thinking. Takamori picked up a pen, and when Minamikawa noticed, she asked him if he had made his choice. He didn't respond because he was lost in his imagination, thinking, "This pencil looks as cute as Minamikawa-san." Minamikawa was shocked by his thoughts, and her cheeks flushed red. Meanwhile, Takamori was still trying to choose between the pens that would best suit Minamikawa, torn and unable to decide. Minamikawa couldn't take it anymore and intervened, telling him that she would pick the pencil herself. Surprised, Takamori said, "Huh? Pick it by herself?" She pointed to a section of pens and told him there were plenty to choose from over there. Then she told him that she would pay for it after all, and that he was free to choose whatever he wanted. He asked, "Anything?" She confirmed, though thinking that if it was too expensive, she would stop him. But she knew it was just a pencil and wouldn't be too costly. She started picking out pens for him and showing them to him, but he wasn't reacting, which made her flustered, unsure of what to do next. Takamori, however, was lost in how adorable she seemed, almost like an employee. Minamikawa was annoyed when she heard his thoughts and, fed up with searching, she wanted to go home, as it didn't seem like he really wanted to pick anything. Despite his calm demeanor, Takamori was secretly wishing these moments would last forever. He stared at her as she looked at him, and she was on the verge of fainting from embarrassment, screaming inside for him to stop saying such embarrassing things. Finally, she asked him which pen he would choose. He picked one, and they went to pay for it. When the cashier told her the price, Minamikawa took out her wallet to pay, but Takamori quickly stepped in and paid instead. Minamikawa tried to pay in his place, but at that moment, the cashier shouted, "Congratulations!" Both of them were startled, and Minamikawa asked why. The cashier explained that from now on, only couples would get a free pencil. Both of them were shocked at being called a couple, and Minamikawa tried to explain that they weren't, but the cashier was insistent. Takamori had no choice but to accept the pencil. As they left the store, Minamikawa mentioned the pencil they got, even though they weren't a couple. Silence hung in the air for a few seconds before Takamori spoke, telling her that she could keep it. Minamikawa refused, saying she hadn't done anything yet. He had paid for the pen himself, meaning she hadn't made it up to him yet, and she felt like she was just following him around. Takamori stayed quiet for a moment. Then, hesitantly, he said, I simply want to go with you, so it's because of that." He felt embarrassed, his cheeks turning red. Then he handed her the pencil and said, "As a thanks, please take this. It's a bonus, though." Minamikawa was about to refuse, but she stayed quiet and took it, telling him that she would just borrow it. Takamori didn't expect that, and she continued, saying that one day she would repay her debt to him, and every time she used that pencil, she would remember that promise. Takamori agreed, and with that, Minamikawa finally felt relieved again. In the middle of class, Takamori was, as usual, noisy in his mind, thinking about Minami and how cute she looked every day. Mina was tired of hearing that every day, but she couldn't figure out a way to make him stop thinking about her. Then suddenly, she heard him say, "Today, I will sure have to tell her." Mina was surprised upon hearing that and felt curious about what he would say to her. Question marks filled her head as she desperately wanted to know what he was going to say. Then suddenly, she thought that maybe he was finally going to confess to her. She was convinced of it without a doubt, and began to think that he would confess to her today. She calmed down for a few seconds and then realized that this was a big chance to make him hate her. She thought that simply saying she hated him wouldn't be enough, and she needed to do something more outrageous. That way, he would stop thinking about her. She let her imagination run wild, imagining him giving her a love letter and confessing his feelings directly, only for her to accept it and then tear it apart mercilessly, shocking him with her harsh actions, finally telling him that he had no chance. She was sure that by doing this, he would hate her, and she could finally silence Takamori's mind, living peacefully without worrying about dying from embarrassment anymore. She stared at him, desperately hoping he would confess to her. Time passed, and the bell rang. At that moment, Takamori stood up from his seat and called out to Minami, who had been eagerly waiting for that moment. Takamori tried to tell her something, but he stuttered. After a few attempts, he finally told her not to worry. Mina was annoyed that he had changed his mind and gently asked if there was something he wanted from her. Takamori hesitated again and then said, "Yes, I want to give this to you." Mina was excited because she thought he would finally give her a love letter, but instead, he handed her a notebook. He told her that the teacher had asked him to give it to her. Mina was shocked because she hadn't expected that. She asked him if that was all, and he answered yes. They stood there, staring at each other for a few seconds. Mina took the notebook from him, imagining herself screaming and calling him a coward, but she knew she couldn't say that to him. After that, Takamori's mind didn't stop thinking about when he would tell her what he wanted to say, postponing it every time until Mina lost her patience. She didn't want to end up moping about it and started to feel a headache every time she thought about it. The classes ended, and Mina remained in her seat, exhausted from waiting, resting her head on the desk. After a while, Takamori came to her, and she lifted her head, but he turned around and said, "See you tomorrow." Mina stood up, unable to believe that he had ignored the matter, and asked him to wait. Without realizing it, she grabbed his hand. Takamori was surprised by that, and Mina struggled to speak before finally asking if there was something he wanted to tell her. She couldn't believe that she had finally said it, and her face turned bright red. He stared down, and when she looked, she noticed she was still holding his hand. She quickly let go and started apologizing, embarrassed by herself for grabbing his hand. At that moment, Takamori pulled out 2 tickets from his pocket and handed them to her. They were movie tickets, and she realized that what he had been trying to tell her was that he wanted them to go see a movie together. He nodded in confirmation, and Mina was shocked to discover that this was all it was, even though she had been convinced he would confess to her. She was completely exhausted from all the thinking, and she had no problem watching the movie with him. She realized once again that she had jumped to the wrong conclusion on her own. Feeling embarrassed, Takamori noticed her strange behavior and asked if she was really okay with it. She asked him what he meant, and he replied, "Watching a movie with me." She suddenly realized she had already agreed and told him she was okay with it. Takamori, holding his ticket, felt extremely embarrassed, unable to believe that she had agreed. Mina watched him in confusion, and then he left after saying goodbye, leaving her alone in the classroom, feeling embarrassed as heat radiated from her body. She sat on the floor, wondering and marveling at the expression on his face and how happy he seemed. Takamori's little sister, Takamori Hinako, was walking down the hallway when a classmate told her she had forgotten her pencil case cover. She turned to thank them with a strange expression and tone. They called her the Ice Queen. Her classmates were surprised by how cold she seemed, but they still found her cute. Just like her brother, her mind was loud, and she worried about her cold responses. She always tried to respond more cheerfully, but it would end up sounding strange because she couldn't express herself properly. She felt very sad because she hadn't spoken to anyone at all and was anxious that if things continued like this, no one would want to talk to her. She didn't have the courage to approach anyone, and while she was lost in her thoughts, a classmate called her and asked if he could see her notes. It was Tuju-kun, the boy who sat next to her. He told her he often felt sleepy during class. While he was talking, Hinako prepared herself to respond nicely, but as usual, it came out cold and emotionless. Tuju was surprised and stared at her for a moment. Realizing she had failed again, she started blaming herself, thinking he wouldn't talk to her anymore. But Tuju stayed calm and told her he wanted to borrow her notes because her handwriting was beautiful, asking if that would be okay. Hanako handed him her notebook. Tuju was delighted and thanked her, promising to return it as soon as possible. Hinako was surprised by this, and just like her brother, she had fallen for the person sitting next to her. Minami headed to the cinema, and as soon as she entered, she was flooded with bad memories from the past of hearing the thoughts of everyone around her. She didn't know what to do, and considered going back home the moment she met Takamori, sure that he would be really upset if she told him she didn't want to watch a movie. She decided to use that as an excuse, and continued walking until she found Takamori waiting for her. Takamori was surprised to see her and couldn't believe she had actually accepted his invitation. He stared at her, admiring her hair in his mind. Minami, unable to hear his thoughts, wanted to tell him right away, but then she heard him think, "Just for you, Minami-san, all the time I spent last night researching was worth it." He had been extremely thorough in picking the perfect movie to ensure the best possible chance. Minami was shocked by how seriously Takamori had taken this, and when he showed her the way, she realized she couldn't refuse now. She couldn't believe that Takamori had done all this research for her. She noticed him standing in front of a movie poster, and wondered if he wanted to watch that one instead. Then she heard him think that today's movie was a heartwarming masterpiece. Takamori was extremely happy that he was able to get tickets for that movie for Minami. Minami was surprised to hear that, and went along to watch the film with him, unable to say no, like any normal person would. She decided to surrender to the situation and focus on the movie to drown out the noise in her head. She took a deep breath and tried to concentrate. The movie was emotional and full of feelings, and Takamori was moved by its touching story. He turned to see if Minami was feeling the same, but Minami was in bad shape, almost about to vomit. Takamori was shocked to see her like that. Minami tried to hold on longer but couldn't in the end and rushed out, apologizing as she went. She sat outside alone, realizing that she wasn't much of a cinema fan. Then she noticed Takamori in front of her, offering her a bottle of water. She thanked him and took it, feeling guilty for ruining things and making him leave the movie halfway. While she was thinking that, Takamori said, "I'm sorry." Minami was surprised and told him that she was the one who should be apologizing. Takamori also felt guilty and apologized again, telling her that it was all his fault. Minami didn't expect him to think that way. Takamori calmed down, and his mind was filled with noise as he blamed himself for not noticing that she wasn't feeling well, and for only caring about his own feelings without considering hers. He couldn't stop thinking it was all his fault. Suddenly, Minami yelled at him, telling him that wasn't true. Takamori looked at her in surprise. Minami continued, saying that he stayed up all night researching the perfect movie just for her, even though he really wanted to watch something else, yet he chose a film that matched her taste. Takamori remained silent, staring at her. After that quiet moment, Minami felt embarrassed as she tried to say something to him. Gathering her courage, she asked if he had really done all that just for her. Takamori was surprised by her question. She lowered her voice, looking away from him, and told him that because of that, he hadn't done anything wrong. Then she said that next time, it would be her turn to invite him. Takamori was speechless, unable to believe what he was hearing, staring at her in amazement. "Huh?" he muttered. Minami then told him that if he didn't mind, she would settle the score next time. Takamori responded, "Dislike it. There's no way I could." He blushed, unable to finish his sentence, then stood up and told her in a serious tone, "You'll never feel this way again." The air between them was tense, and Minami was both surprised and embarrassed by his words. She quickly stood up, bowed, and thanked him for everything. He told her he was looking forward to working with her, and they walked back together. Minami was overjoyed and felt more alive than ever. She started thinking about the movie they had watched, realizing it was a true gem, as Takamori had been singing its praises in his heart. She decided to check it out when it streams. She felt relieved and incredibly happy, but suddenly everything came crashing down when she realized that she had invited him herself. Regret and embarrassment washed over her, but she had done it to keep him calm. She didn't know what to do, while Takamori was practically floating with joy, thinking, "I get to hang out with Minami again!" Minami heard that, and it only made her more annoyed. The weather changed and heavy rain poured down as Minami arrived at Takamori's house. He asked her to come in and act like it was her own home, then informed her that his parents were not home. Minami didn't know what to do and stayed sitting in front of the door, nearly dying of embarrassment. Just a few hours earlier, while they were together, and Takamori was almost flying with joy, Minami had grown tired of the situation. She knew well that if she kept hesitating, she would never be able to quiet him, so she decided to say it out loud and clearly to silence him. Just as she was about to tell him, the rain began to pour. Minami told him they needed to find shelter quickly. Then she started sneezing. Takamori informed her that his house was nearby and just around the corner. Minami was surprised by that, and as she felt the weather, she agreed to go with him, even though she never imagined things would escalate to this extent. Takamori went and brought her some of his clothes, telling her they would be big since they were his. Minami held them and blushed fiercely after realizing she was holding them. However, she convinced herself it was an emergency and hurried to put them on so she wouldn't catch a cold, trying to calm herself by saying they were just clothes. After she finished changing, Takamori entered. She felt embarrassed and thanked him. He continued to look at her coldly, then responded while internally he was nearly jumping for joy because she was wearing his clothes. Takamori loved how she looked in his clothes. Then he realized he needed to calm himself down. "I am just doing this so Ms. Minami doesn't catch a cold," he thought, stealing a glance after deciding not to wash those clothes again. Meanwhile, Minami was sitting at the table, annoyed by the noise even in the house. It was an extremely awkward situation that she couldn't handle. Then she heard someone calling for Takamori. It was his sister, Hinako, who was surprised to see her. Minami introduced herself and Hinako blushed, apologizing for intruding. Then a strange look crossed her face, and she hurried away. Minami asked Takamori if she was his sister, and he confirmed that she was, saying she was shy around new people. Minami noticed that Hinako was nice, but for a moment, she felt as if she had looked at her with anger, and wondered if that was just her imagination. Hinako then brought them some tea. Minami was surprised by her kindness and thanked her, but she was shocked by the hatred in Hinako's gaze, and realized it wasn't just her imagination. She began to read Hinako's mind. She was in a whirlwind of questions about who Minami was, and why her brother had brought her home. Minami started to feel cold from that. Afterward, Hinako left. Takamori apologized for that, but Minami didn't know what to say, so she took the tea while feeling disappointed that the kids hated her. Takamori clarified that with that vibe, his sister was misunderstood, and that she had a kind soul but was misinterpreted due to her lack finesse. Minami found it both awkward and kind at the same time. Then she told him there was something about her that reminded her of him. Takamori looked at her, curious to know what that was. "What?" he asked. She told him that although he was quiet and awkward, he was still kind. Takamori was surprised by her frankness. At that moment, the rain began to pour, and Minami shouted that she wished the rain would stop soon. Takamori covered his mouth, his cheeks flushing with embarrassment, then told her she was right, secretly wishing the rain would stay like this forever. Minami's eyes widened in embarrassment upon hearing that. Then she sneezed and started freezing from the cold, almost falling over from embarrassment. Takamori looked at her encouragingly, telling her to take the blanket. At that moment, Hinako brought her the blanket. Minami thanked her, and Hinako rushed away again. Minami wrapped the blanket around herself. Time passed, and Minami felt embarrassed. She apologized to them, but Takamori didn't notice her because he was looking for something to eat. Then, Hinako appeared before them again, holding a basket of sweets, which she offered to Minami before hurrying back. Minami was puzzled by her behavior, and after a few seconds, she heard Hinako behind the wall, thinking that it was the first time her brother had brought a friend home. Hinako felt sad that she couldn't hold a conversation and wished her speaking skills were better. Deep down, she wanted to get closer to Minami and play. She wanted to experience conversation, but she was afraid of how people would perceive her. Minami started to think about Takamori's words regarding his sister, and realized he was right. Then Hinako appeared again, having decided to overcome her fear and get to know Minami better. After a while, Hinako broke that barrier and became closer to Minami, who felt satisfied that she wasn't being hated. Takamori looked at his sister in a strange way, thinking to himself, "Get off from my lady!" Minami felt flustered by the aura radiating from him. After a while, the weather cleared up, and the rain stopped. Minami told them she had to leave, but Hinako didn't let her finish speaking, grabbing her arm and begging her to stay, tears welling in her eyes. Minami didn't know what to do, and at that moment, Takamori intervened, asking his sister not to cause trouble for Minami. Minami knelt down and apologized to Hinako, who told her she wished she had an older sister like her. Minami was surprised and embarrassed, then hugged her, telling her she would be her big sister. Takamori's eyes widened, and his imagination started working. He began to think that this meant she would be his wife. Minami looked at him in shock, silently screaming that this wasn't what she meant. But Takamori took it too far and liked the idea, becoming even more rowdy than before. Minami covered her ears, wanting to stop the noise, feeling like she was going to die of embarrassment. So she apologized to them and hurriedly left, leaving the two standing there, puzzled. After she left, Takamori realized she had forgotten her clothes. Minami didn't realize this until she reached her house. She began to look at Takamori's clothes that she was wearing, and then fell to the ground after remembering she had left her own clothes at his house. She started rolling on the bed out of embarrassment, while Takamori held her clothes, confused about what to do with them. Just then, Hinako entered. Morning arrived, and Minami was walking nervously, carrying a bag in her hands. She met Takamori, who was as loud as ever, thinking, "Oh my gosh, inviting her over yesterday might have been super creepy. I need to return her clothes. But wait, doing that here would be totally awkward, right? Where's the best place to do it?" Minami was startled by his loud thoughts. She tried to calm him down by calling his name. He looked at her coldly and, unusually, told her that she looked adorable today. Minami was surprised by his words and the fact that he finally spoke. She didn't know what to say, standing there in disbelief. She went to her locker, trying to convince herself she was imagining things, thinking she'd been listening to her inner voice so much that her ears had gone haywire. After all, it was impossible for Takamori to say something like that so clearly. Takamori kept staring at her in confusion before handing her her clothes, shocking Minami that he said this in front of everyone. Minami became even more flustered and told him she would return them immediately. She didn't know what Takamori was thinking. All eyes were on them as their classmates started speculating about their relationship and piecing the dots together. Minami froze in place, unable to move, as the embarrassment and shame built up until she exploded and ran off, screaming inside her head. She couldn't understand what had happened to Takamori. or why he was blurting out all his inner thoughts. She fled to the bathroom again, wondering if wearing his clothes had made him angry, and whether they were his favorite clothes. Minami was too embarrassed to return to the classroom, so she stayed out for a while before finally going back. Takamori greeted her and asked if she was okay since her face was completely red. She told him she wasn't feeling well, but then he complimented her, saying that even when she blushes, she looks adorable, and that he loves every version of her. Minami couldn't believe what she was hearing. Sweat dripped from her face in shock, and she covered her ears because the situation was too overwhelming. Her face felt like it was burning, and to make it worse, everyone was staring at her. Minami felt increasingly alarmed by Takamori's strange behavior. He continued to spill his inner thoughts aloud, leaving Minami in disbelief each time. Even the other girls started to notice his change in behavior. Minami knew this would happen. Everyone was shocked to discover the real Takamori. She had no choice but to pull him outside, believing it was the only way to save his reputation. He asked her if they could meet on the rooftop, and Minami began apologizing for leaving with his clothes. She asked if he could go back to being the usual Takamori. He didn't understand what she meant, and Minami was shocked to realize he didn't even notice. She turned her eyes away and told him that he had been whispering out loud. Takamori stared at her in silence, covering his mouth in shock, while Minami couldn't believe he hadn't realized it. That's when he understood why his throat had been hurting. Minami asked him how much he had been saying out loud. Takamori realized something was wrong because he had been feeling warm, soft, and fuzzy, like he couldn't think straight. Minami was surprised by his words, and after a moment, she concluded that he might have a fever. When they checked his temperature, they found out it was high, so they went to the nurse, who told him to rest for the day. Everything became clear to Minami. She finally understood why Takamori had been acting so strangely. He became talkative when he had a fever. It was a bit unexpected. Takamori interrupted her thoughts, apologized again, and told her to go back to class. She agreed, telling him to take it easy. He wished her sweet dreams, then fell into a deep sleep, drifting off into his dreams. He dreamed about what had happened that day, and how he felt like he wasn't himself, driven by the whims of his fever. He knew he had said a lot of things, but couldn't remember exactly what. In his dream, he sat above the clouds, looking up at Minami and wishing they could talk like that more often, hoping that one day their relationship might grow closer. Takamori woke up embarrassed by the dream, feeling that the fever had gone away. He wondered what time it was and stood up to go home, but he was surprised to see Minami asleep on his bed. Embarrassed, he whispered, "Minami?" Takamori thought she had already left, but she had been sleeping beside him the whole time like a log. Then he noticed a bowl of water next to him. Putting the dots together, he realized that Minami had been taking care of him, trying to lower his fever while he slept. He felt warmth and embarrassment at the same time. She had always been there for him. He couldn't believe it. Takamori was incredibly happy, staring at her while she slept. He wanted to hold her hand, but stopped himself at the last moment. Instead, he thanked her softly. At that moment, Minami woke up, feeling the same warmth he had, and they stayed like that until morning. Inside the clinic, Minamikawa was still fast asleep, and Takamori, feeling embarrassed, hesitated to wake her. He kept watching her, but then a girl walked in after being told by the teacher that they were there. Her expression changed when she saw Takamori. Surprised, Takamori wondered who she was, and whether she was a friend of Minamikawa. The girl approached Minamikawa and began tapping her back, trying to wake her. Takamori watched in confusion. "Don't worry," Takamori said, eyeing Takamori menacingly, before yelling at him, accusing him of being a pervert and warning him not to touch Minamikawa. Minamikawa finally woke up after her long nap and was surprised to see Kyoko in front of her. Takamori asked who she was, and Minamikawa nervously wondered if she seemed a bit grumpy to him. She told him that Kyoko was her childhood friend, and they had been friends since kindergarten. They hadn't had a chance to meet much because they were in different classes. Kyoko offered Minamikawa some cookies she had baked, but then her tone shifted again, and she asked Minamikawa who this pervert was. Minamikawa was taken aback by her friend's attitude, and explained that Takamori was her classmate, and that she had been watching over him because he had a fever. Kyoko didn't believe he was just a classmate, claiming she had seen him trying to hold Minamikawa's hand earlier. She wasn't comfortable with him, and kept exchanging tense glances with him. Kyoko then started to imagine him being taken advantage of her power, fearing for her friend's safety around Takamori. She decided she needed to figure out what kind of guy he was, convinced she was the only one who could protect Minamikawa. Kyoko came up with an idea that made Minamikawa uneasy. Minamikawa tried to tell Takamori not to take things too seriously, knowing her friend well. She asked him to step outside for a bit. Takamori didn't understand her motive, while Minamikawa felt she might have overdone things. They went to the arcade, where Kyoko started competing against him in games. Eventually, they ended up at a karaoke bar, sitting in an awkward silence. Minamikawa was in the middle, feeling tense about the rivalry brewing between her childhood friend and her classmate. The atmosphere became electric. Minamikawa suggested to Takamori that he should head home, worried he might feel uncomfortable, but he assured her he was fine. She turned to Kyoko, who was lost in thought. Minamikawa grew more irritated by both of them and screamed internally, wanting to tell Takamori that he didn't need to compete. Unable to stand the situation any longer, Minamikawa told them she needed to go to the bathroom, hoping to find a solution, and left the two alone at the table. Takamori was confused, not understanding what he was doing and why he felt so bothered by Minamikawa's childhood friend. Kyoko suddenly called out to him and bluntly asked if he had feelings for Minamikawa. Takamori was startled by the question and spit out his drink, shocked that she had figured it out despite his perfect poker face. Kyoko was empathetic, knowing her friend was cute. Takamori didn't know how to respond, and Kyoko pressed him to admit what he liked about Minamikawa. Takamori remained silent, sweating. Kyoko was determined to find out and insisted he confess. Takamori felt like he was being interrogated. He thought about the question, realizing that there were many things he liked about Minamikawa. Finally, he told Kyoko it was a secret. Kyoko then asked if he loved Minamikawa, even though he knew her secrets. Takamori didn't understand what she meant, and Kyoko was surprised that he didn't know. She then changed her mind and told him not to fall in love with Minamikawa. Takamori's eyes widened in confusion, not understanding what Kyoko meant. He asked her what she was talking about, and Kyoko told him that he had uncovered the Minamikawa secret, and that this secret would shatter his illusions. She warned him that Minamikawa would be the one to bear the pain. Looking back, when Minamikawa had told Kyoko that reading people's minds was strange, Kyoko had said it was actually a great ability. Minamikawa had been sad, knowing that someone like Kyoko was one in a million, and that everyone else would think she was weird. Kyoko didn't want her friend to get hurt. Takamori, still silent and unsure what to say, hesitantly asked what kind of secret Minamikawa was hiding. Compared to Kyoko, he felt like there was so much he didn't know about her since they weren't that close. She was just his classmate, but deep down, he wanted to know everything about her, believing he would be embraced. Minamikawa, who had been listening from behind the door, heard Takamori confessing to her friend Kyoko. She decided to walk in suddenly, apologizing for the delay. She seemed flustered, trying to forget what she had overheard. Kyoko noticed and smiled before telling them she wanted to sing too. After they finished, Kyoko told Takamori that she would give him the recognition he deserved, and apologized for putting him through a test. That's when Takamori realized he had been tested. Although Kyoko didn't have the power to read minds, she knew from his cool expressions that he truly cared about Minamikawa. Minamikawa, meanwhile, was trying to make him leave, worried he would get more exhausted, but he was too busy enjoying just looking at her. Kyoko finally felt at ease after getting to know Takamori better, but she still wondered if her shy friend would be okay. Minamikawa was screaming inside, unable to handle the situation. Kyoko looked at Minamikawa and mentally asked if they should make it a duo, then thanked them for hanging out with her. As she was leaving, she suddenly remembered something, turned around, clenched her fist, and told Takamori to make her friend happy before running away as Minamikawa yelled after her that she didn't mean it. Takamori, however, was focused on the idea of actually making her happy. Outside, it was raining, so Minamikawa had to share Takamori's umbrella since she had forgotten hers. She felt uncomfortable the entire walk, especially with Takamori's loud thoughts making her feel like she was going to die with every step. She thought about grabbing the umbrella herself to create some distance between them. She asked Takamori if she could hold it, but he refused, not wanting her to carry it. Minamikawa insisted, but he remained adamant, until their hands accidentally touched. They both froze for a moment in shock before Takamori quickly pulled his hand back and apologized. Minamikawa reassured him that everything would be okay, and they continued walking together under the same umbrella. Minamikawa and Takamori were walking together under his umbrella. Minamikawa felt strange because Takamori hadn't said a word the entire time, lost in his thoughts. blaming himself for accidentally touching her hand and fearing she might have misunderstood him. By coincidence, they both spoke at the same time, and then again, each asking the other to go first. It happened a third time, surprising them both, and they exchanged glances before Minamikawa burst into laughter. After a while, the rain stopped, and they parted ways. Minamikawa told him they would meet later. She was in a good mood, but suddenly realized something and looked at her hand to find that she was still holding Takamori's umbrella. Annoyed, she rushed to catch the train, which was incredibly noisy with people's thoughts. She usually avoided taking the train, but she had no choice since she was late. However, the noise was overwhelming and sharp. Although she was used to ignoring it, the crowded train made her feel sick. She thought about getting off, but dismissed the idea, knowing she would be even later if she did. As the train stopped, she couldn't hold it in anymore, grabbed her mouth and rushed out, only to bump into Takamori at the door. They stood there silently, recognizing each other. Takamori was overjoyed at the coincidence, certain that his day was going to be great, especially since the day they would walk together had finally come. Minamikawa was surprised and tried to warn him, but his mind was elsewhere, his heart soaring with happiness. Minamikawa kept looking at him, and as the train doors closed with them still outside, she jokingly told him that the bell saved her this time and thanked him. She then ran off. Later, in the library, where the chaotic thoughts of people were equally loud, Minamikawa tried to read but couldn't concentrate. Frustrated, she wondered why libraries, which were supposed to be quiet sanctuaries, were filled with noise. She gathered her focus and tried to ignore it as she usually did, but this time it wasn't working. She got up and decided to borrow a dictionary, only to find it placed high up on the shelf. Frustrated, she brought over a ladder. Annoyed and wondering who would put it so high, she climbed the ladder and reached out with both hands, but couldn't quite grasp it. Considering asking for help, she looked around the shelves, but saw everyone was busy, so she couldn't bring herself to speak up. She wished someone could read her mind. Feeling disappointed, she decided to give up and go home. Suddenly, Takamori appeared behind her, reached up, and handed her the dictionary. Surprised, Minamikawa thanked him and asked how he knew she needed it, given he couldn't read minds. He said it was just a coincidence, but secretly believed it was because of love. Minamikawa's cheeks flushed at hearing his thoughts, and she screams internally, unable to believe it and wishing she could just silence him.
At Minami's house, she wakes up and breakfast is ready. She talks to her mom, but something is wrong. She can't hear anything. Her telepathy is gone. It has been a while since this happened, which means today is no telepathy day. Telepathy decided to sleep. So today is a peaceful day. The train is quiet, crowds don't bother her. She rejoices. Later, she greets Takamori, and yup, she can't hear his thoughts too. She's glad this day has finally come. The teacher is returning the notes, and Minami gets up to grab hers, feeling like she can concentrate. She's been trying to concentrate and focus, but the voices are way too loud. She draws the silly little mouse and is happy she can finally doodle during class. Takamori questions her about the notebook, and she wonders what he's thinking. Turns out, the notebook is Takamori's. She was surprised that the teacher mixed them up, and she actually forgot to submit hers. So she apologizes to Takamori for the doodle, and she tells him that she will erase it right away. But he tells her that it's fine. She glances at him and tries to speak out, but panics, thinking he's mad. She thinks that since it's Takamori, he won't get mad, right? He questions if he should buy a new notebook. She thinks that he's definitely angry and must hate the doodle so much so that he'd want to buy a new one. She wonders that if she can read his thoughts, then he's probably thinking it's a treasure. It must be that, right? Right? Usually, his thoughts are too loud for her to think. Turns out, when she can focus, she finds him super handsome. Takamori wonders what the doodle is, and she answers that she's trying to act cute, like a bunny. Well, he's quieter than expected. He smiles at the drawing, and she realizes he wasn't angry after all. He then murmurs something under his breath, and she wonders if he was the one switching the books. He gives her a creepy look, and she concludes that he's definitely angry. She's annoyed, missing her telepathy, who's napping today. She gets up apologizing, but he tells her he's not bothered by it at all. She keeps on offering a dessert, and he thanks her, but he still seems down. Later, she's annoyed that she can't figure out what he's thinking. Her friend tells her that it's a great thing, and since there were no telepathy days before, she shouldn't be bothered by this one. She explains but struggles for a second, answering that she keeps thinking about him. Normally, she'd know what he's thinking right away, but now she doesn't know what he means but what he says. She wonders and she doesn't know how to explain herself and states that everything he does keeps her on edge. She thinks of him and hopes that he's actually not angry with her. Her friend calls her and asks her, "You like him, don't you?" She pauses for a second and asks, "What?" And the little one reaffirms. Minami gets red and starts jumping, stating that she does not like him. But the little one tells us that she does like him, and Minami experiences a whirlwind of emotions, thinking that she's just curious about him. The little one answers that she doesn't feel this way about anyone besides Takamori. But she denies it again and again, thinking, yeah, he's a great guy, but it's not like that, and reaffirms herself to the little one. The little one decides to not talk anymore, fearing to be strangled by Minami. She gets up, making her leave, telling Minami that when telepathy is back, she'll know, and the two agree. The night comes, and Minami is on her phone. Something shocks her, and she buries her head into the pillow, kicking her feet as she shouts, insulting Kyoko. One side of her wonders if he's actually angry, and the other side tells her that she's not worried about him. Her eyes light up as she thinks of him smiling, and she goes, "Oh my goodness!" Tomorrow, we'll find out. Y'all know Takamori is chill like that. You know, he's just a chill guy. The next day comes, and it's summer vacation. She fumbles because this means she won't see Takamori until school starts. She starts wondering if she's gonna be stuck feeling uneasy until then. Eating cotton candy? Uneasy. Barbecue? Uneasy. Swimming? Uneasy. She panics, not wanting that to happen. She grabs her phone, determined to ask him. She plans to make it a study group. So she calls him, he answers, and they meet up. Later, Takamori greets her, and she greets him back. He asks her to come in, and she does. Why is this so formal, guys? What the hell? She's happy she's managed to see him again, and recalls Kyoko's words about liking him. She gets annoyed and thinks to herself that she's only came here to check if he's angry or not. Not because she missed him. That's definitely not the reason here. She looks at him and wonders, he doesn't seem angry. All he thinks about is, to think that Mina would invite me? I've had a great start of summer vacation. When the phone rang, I thought my heart would jump out. He guides her to the room, but it seems something is wrong. He asks her if the living room is okay, and she answers that it's fine. She then asks him about Hinako, his little sister, and he answers that she went shopping with her mom. She realizes that it's only the two of them, and goes, "Red!" shaking. She wonders what to do, and ends up blushing wildly. But Takamori shared the same exact thought as hers. She's confused and glances at the table. It's a new notebook. She asks him if he bought it, and he affirms. She questions him about the one where she doodled on, and he answers coldly that he does not use it anymore. This shit echoes in her head, causing some serious emotional damage. She soullessly gets up. Meanwhile, in his head, he thinks that he can't use that one. She tells him that she's gotta go use the bathroom. And once out of his sight, she thinks he is really angry and regrets doodling on it. She freezes for a moment as she realizes she went to the wrong room. She then notices the notebook with a doodle wide open on his desk. He got caught 4K full HD 146 hertz upscaled re-rendering RGB. He comes in telling her that the restroom is on the right, and she apologizes, explaining that she walked him by mistake. He thinks about the notebook. It's precious because Mina doodled on it. He doesn't want it to be ruined by his handwriting, therefore he can't use it. And he plans to frame it and treat it as a family heirloom. He was shocked, and he thinks that she finna be weirded out and needs to come up with a decent excuse ASAP. She's flustered and realizes that that's the reason why she couldn't go into the room earlier. Takamori tells her that the notebook will be given to his sister, so he means that he didn't mean to use it anymore and planning to throw it away. It's just on his desk. I can't read fast, guys. I can't read fast. What a long excuse. She recalls his thoughts and smiles because she was so worried for nothing. She burst out laughing, shocking him, speaking out loud that she is relieved he's not angry. He wonders, angry? Me? Homeboy's chill like that. She explains that she thought the doodling made him mad, and he pauses for a second before questioning if that's the reason why she came here. She got caught! 4K, 24 FPS, But he tells her she's so principled, confusing her before thinking that that's what makes him like her. She's out of words, and he tells her he's not angry at all, and rather thanks her as he admires the drawing. An absolute piece of art. Cinema. Later, the two are done with a study session, and she's glad she'll spend the summer vacation at ease. He thanked her, but now he's sad. He's sad that he won't be able to see her for the rest of the summer vacation. She remembers and realizes she managed to meet him because she invited him today, and if neither invites the other, then they won't see each other for the rest of the summer vacation. Takamori breaks the silence. What does he want to say? He wonders if he should ask for another study session, but maybe they should go somewhere else. Or should he say, shall we meet again? He ends up asking, again, at school. She smiles and makes her leave. Later, at Minami, now that she found out that he's not angry, she has no reason to invite him anymore. But there are 39 days left until the summer vacations, which for her seems so long. Imagine, bro. Imagine going 39 days without shawty. Like, I'll go crazy. Her phone rings and she gets up. Is it Takamori? It's Kyoko, inviting her to go to the beach this weekend. She also invites Takamori. Minami is shocked, wondering if this means they can meet again during the summer vacation. She gets excited and realizes that, no, she's not happy. What? She doesn't like him. Beach day. Why does she look like their kid, bro? We need that one guy from TikTok to measure her height. The two are super shy. Super shy. I gotta stop doing these shenanigans. They do a little bit of small talk, and Kyoko tries to break the ice. Meanwhile, Takamori thoughts are all over the place. Since he's in a swim, it's not a swim. Since he's in shorts, he flexes, looking at the distance. She offers that they go swim, and he tells her that she looks great in a swimsuit. She gets flustered and takes a look at herself before running away. Minami is being approached by 3 guys. They ask her if she wants to play with them. She answers that she's waiting for her friends, wanting to get the hell out of there. They ask her to wait, and one of them grabs her hand. She wants to break free, but he's too strong. She wonders what she should do, feeling too scared to even shout, begging for someone to come help. As she's about to yell, Takamori pulls up. She's glad to see him, and the blonde guy wonders if it's her boyfriend. Takamori innocently answers that he's not, which is way too honest. They shoo him away while mocking him. He answers that although she's not his girl, she's someone important to him. Minami is flustered, and the blonde guy gets mad, and he approaches him, telling him to listen quietly, big bro. Takamori answers, yes. And the boys encourage him, telling him he can do it. They ask him to take care of her, and they leave, looking at the back. Oh, the youth. The youth is so great. It's so beautiful. Takamori was scared. He glances at Minami and apologizes, reflecting that he should have gone with her. But she disagrees, glad that he came. He offers to hold half of the juices for her, and she thanks him, reflecting that for her, he's a treasure, someone truly special. Takamori turns to tell her that it's dangerous, so she shouldn't let go of him. She pauses and runs towards him, agreeing. Back at the beach, she cools her face with a can because she's way too embarrassed. Kyoko joins them, worried that something happened. Minami is overheating, while Takamori is pretending that nothing happened. Kyoko thinks that he must have done something to embarrass her again, and she teases him. The day at the beach is done. Night comes and they take the bus. Takamori notices that Minami is sleeping. She snores and falls to her side on her friend Kyoko. Kyoko smiles and pushes her onto Takamori. He's stressing! She smells like the sea, and so does he. He's glad that they've got to spend the same summer together. Somebody check my blood pressure, guys. Chapter 16. Minami is struggling with a task, and in a desperate measure, she does her hair, packs some food, put on a straw hat, and takes the train. It's a solo picnic. When she overthinks, she needs to go to a park where there aren't many people and eats a ton. She's glad and does her setup. She starts to eat, but she catches somebody's thoughts. It's Takamori. He approaches her, asking what she's doing here and why she's having a picnic by herself. She stresses, worried that he finna think she's weird. She tries to explain, but the dude is already thinking in his mind, is she here with her boyfriend? In response, she screams that she's alone, silencing the whole situation. 1, 2, 3, 4, how many He wonders if she can eat all of that by herself. Embarrassed, she says that she made way too much food, offering him to join her. He sits down and picks up a ball of rice, recalling the cooking class. Takamori thanks her for the meal and takes a bite. He's so happy as he radiates. He thinks that this summer is full of luck memories. He wonders, is it okay to be this happy? Feeling like he's used up all his luck. Am I going to die? Minami brings up the beach day, asking if it was fun, and he agrees. The two sits in silence for a moment. She breaks the silence and recalls what he said at the beach and asks him, what kind of person is important to him? He's taken aback as he thinks that to him, someone important is someone he wants to be with. She understands and starts packing the lunch and leaves. He wonders if he said something wrong. In the train, Minami thinks to herself, she might feel the same way as Takamori. She falls asleep and the bus continues. She's still thinking about it. And finally, she comes to agreement with it. At school, Takamori gets approached by Minami, asking him to hold hands. Whoa! This went from 0 to 100 real fast. Bro is confused and asks her, what's up? But she insists, grabbing his hand and walking together. He's too happy to move. During lunch break, she calls out to him, asking for a bite. Later, they are sitting together at a bench, and Takamori wonders what's happening and thinks to be able to be spoiled by the one you like must be a dreams come true. He wonders, is this actually a dream? Correct! He finds the dream embarrassing. She then pulls closer to him, telling him that she likes him. And he wakes up in class. Turns out Minami can hear dreams as well. The limited bread was sold out and Minami was sad about it. So she went back to class hungry, and Takamori has acquired the infamous strawberry sandwich she craves. She decides to ask him to share. She approaches him, acting all cutesy and all, but he's deep in his mind, glad to finally have gotten his hand on this legendary sandwich. He's always wanted to try it, as it looks so delicious. She gets back onto her seat, annoyed. She wants to eat it, but she thinks to herself, she gotta get her composure, feeling like she shouldn't want someone else's stuff. Next to her, Takamori goes in for a bite. It looks more and more delicious. She's staring at it and he notices her. She apologizes, thinking that she's way too eager. He realizes that she might want some as well. He calls out to her and asks, you want some? Confused, she replies that she doesn't want to take it off from him, but he replies, it's okay, because he can eat it another time, while thinking that if that's what makes her happy, then he can hold back for her. She gets up on his desk, offering to split it up, And that is how the two enjoy a nice shared strawberry sandwich. Chapter 19. Today is Valentine's Day, and Takamori reminds her of it. Minami wonders what's about it. He answers that there's nothing, but deep down, he wants to get chocolate from her. In Japan, girls give chocolate to the guy they like on Valentine's Day. I'm not sure, guys. Minami gets flustered and starts to ramble, dropping her eraser. Takamori picks it up. She thanks him, and he's still thinking about the chocolate. She's surprised, and he wonders if she will give chocolate to someone else. In gym class, he still thinks about it. During break, he still thinks about it. She's overwhelmed, and she catches something from the window. A girl is giving him chocolate. She thinks to herself that he's getting a lot of chocolate. He's a popular guy. So if she gives him any, then it doesn't really matter, right? But deep down, he only wants to get chocolate from her. She rushes to the nearby shop and buys chocolate. She comes to him, offering him a single piece of chocolate as a thank you for the eraser. His eyes lit up. Now, he'll surely be quiet, right? He gets excited and overwhelms her. His thoughts are loud. White Day. A day in Japan for lovers, where guys return a gift to the girls. Takamori wants to give something to Minami. She reads his mind, and this makes her flustered. She wonders, is it for the chocolate? She thinks it's no biggie, but she's a little happy. She greets him and notices a bag full of chocolates, asking him if he's gonna return them one by one, and she offers her help. This confuses him, but she's hyped up for the task. Later, the two are done with returning everything. Now, there's just one left, hers. He addresses her, thanking her, and makes his leave. She wonders, what about mine? And recalls the girls giving him big gifts while she gave him just a tiny little piece of chocolate, and it was a thank you. So maybe because of that, she doesn't get one. She reminisces, disappointed in herself. She gets up and rushes towards Takamori, asking about her gift. He looks back. He blushes. Right before dipping the hell out of there. He calls out to her, offering her a pretty box with a neatly tied bow. She's surprised, and he tells her that he wasn't sure if he should give it to her. Surprised, she jumps with joy, pretending he didn't need to. He also pretended that it was just in case, but deep down, he's absolutely ecstatic. In class, Takamori holds a love letter, deciding that he will be giving it to her. Summer Festival. Minami is on a call with Kyoko, and Kyoko cannot make it to the summer festival. She's got other plans she can't get out of. Minami explains that she has no one else she can invite, and Kyoko's like, what are you talking about? You've got someone you want to invite, don't you? And Minami tries to deny it. At school, summer study session, 9 a.m. Optional participation. Takamori shows up to the optional participation study, and he greets Minami. She greets him back, and in his thought, he's like, I am so glad she came to this study session. He asks her, you're here? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. In her mind, she didn't intend to participate, but thanks to Kyoko, she knew he was going to be here. And she only has one mission today: inviting Takamori to the summer festival. Going by herself would be just a little too awkward, and she's got no one else to invite. She's just making excuses. She's like, ask him straight up and get it over with. So she calls out his name, and he turns. The second he turns, her heart skips a beat. And she's like, what is this happening in my body? He's confused and wonders what it is, and she tries to speak, but nothing is coming out. And he's like, what is she trying to say? And he's like, I want to, but anticipation is building up. And she goes, never mind. She kitchens out, and she chickens out. And Takamori is confused what she was about to say. Minami feels super embarrassed. She can't even get the words out. She's never been this nervous to invite anyone to anything. Besides that, Takamori is looking even cooler than usual for some reason. What? Is it just her imagination? It's not like she thinks he's looking cool because he's handsome or anything. She turns to look at him, and this motherfucker is shining. The lesson starts, and class goes by. She is sitting on her desk with her phone, and she wonders if she just should invite him over. Boop! He pulls up behind her. He surprises her and apologizes. He tells her that she seemed like she was about to say something earlier, and it was nothing to worry about. she can't bring herself to say it. He reluctantly agrees, but he thinks that it's because he is hard to talk to. This makes her worried about him, and he keeps drowning himself in negativity. I was so excited that Minami wanted to talk to me, but she gets even more worried, and he thinks that he's not even worthy of hearing her thoughts. She calls out to him and slams her desk, telling him it's nothing like that. He looks at her and she stammers. She has something she wants to tell him. He says, "Okay, I'm listening," and she panics. She tries to tell him, but her heart is beating. She's overheating. She gets more red by the second. She can't even get the words out. And then boom, she falls unconscious. Later, at the nurse's office, Minami gets up and she finally got so embarrassed she passed out at school. At least it's summer vacation and not that many people were around to see, but Takamori sits right next to her. He asks if she's alright and she calls out to him before feeling super embarrassed. She passed out in front of him. She tries to explain, but he hands her something. It's a water bottle. She thanks him and he asks if her head hurts. She says no and asks if she feels nauseous. She says she's okay and asks if she's hurt anywhere else. She thinks he's talking so much and replies that it's just the summer heat, so she's fine. He asks, "Really?" She replies, "Really?" He lets out a drawn-out sigh. He's so glad. If something were to happen to her, he'd be so worried. She notices that his hand is shaking and starts twirling her hair. Like he's like, "You were worried about me?" He looks at her and replies, "Of course I was. You're important to me after all." This hits her really hard and he gets up, saying that he'll go call the nurse. She stops him by holding his hand and squeezes it. He looks at her and she calls out his name, asking if he would join her to the summer festival. He pauses and she wonders if that's not okay. He stops and she gets surprised that he's squeezing her arm. He replies, "How could it not be okay? Of course it is. I'll be there no matter what." Chapter 18, Summer Festival. Minami comes running, calling Takamori. He looks at her, admiring her. She apologizes, asking if she has kept him waiting, and he answers not at all, thinking her yukata is so cute. She plays with her hair, thanking him for coming out today. He answers coldly, sure, and asks if she wanna get going. She goes, "Okay," and wonders if it's her or if he's being kinda short. She reads his mind and he's freaking nervous. After all, he decided that today's the day he's going to confess to Minami. She freaks out. Confess? Today? He thinks that if he don't tell her today, he might never be able to for the rest of his life. Minami panics. She's not emotionally prepared for this. She wonders what to do. If today is the day, then she must brace herself. The night goes by and he calls her name. Her heart skips a beat and she wonders what he wants. He asks her, "Would you?" And she wonders if he's going for it. He asks, Would you like to get something from any of these stalls around here? Is there anything you want to eat?" She looks at him and slouches. He asks, "Are you alright?" And she thinks that she can't let herself die of embarrassment here. They go grab some food and he states that it looks like that stall over there has sweet potatoes. Her heart skips a beat. He asks her, "Do you like sweets?" Her heart skips another beat. He states that it seems like it's gotten pretty crowded. Her heart skips a beat. Every time he says "like," she can't stop reacting. And she looks around and he's disappeared. The fireworks are starting soon and she calls out his name. He grabs her from the sleeves and tells her, "Over here." She turns around and he lifts his hand up, asking, "Do you want to hold onto my sleeve?" She looks at him and reaches out, grabbing him from the sleeve. The night goes on and they head to a shrine. She asks him about it and he answers that this is a secret viewing spot. She wows, surprised that he knows such a place. She looks up and she can see the stars from there. He remains in silence and she tells him that she's really glad he came with her today. She looks up, telling him that the fireworks are about to start and that she's looking forward to them. He calls out her name and looks at her in the eyes as he says, I love you. He thinks that the fireworks completely drown out his voice. He timed it right before when they go off, but there's no way she heard him and wonders what he's even doing. She told him that she heard him. He looked at her in surprise and she repeats, I heard you loud and clear. He asks her, how? How did you know what I was thinking? And she replies that she knows. She can read people's mind. Chapter 19. Takamori asks her, you can read people's mind? What do you mean? She answers that ever since she was little, she's been able to read minds, and that's why she could hear his thoughts when he was deciding if he should confess or not. He freezes. What the hell? She clenches her butt cheeks really tightly and calls out his name, but he interrupts her. My thoughts? You could hear them all this time? Confused, surprising her in the process. He asks, all this time? And she replies, yeah. He continues, as long as I've known you? She replies, yeah. And today when he was trying to work up the courage to confess to her, she was able to hear all of that too. He stops and she calls out his name. He apologizes, telling her that he'd like to be alone. Later, she lays down on her bed, feeling down. She wonders if he hates her now. She flips and smiles. Of course he does. After all, she's some telepathic girl. She goes around prying into his mind without his consent, and nobody wants that. A tear rolls down her eye. She says that she should have never told him that she's a tele. Her phone rings. It's Kyoko. She shouts at her, why did you go home? Minami is confused. What do you mean? Kyoko tells her that the mood was finally right too, and Minami wonders, she was watching them this whole time? She said she was not going to be able to make it to the festival. Kyoko explains that she said that so the two of them could spend time together. She's been peeping from behind the shrine. Minami understands and starts to work up the courage to explain to her that she thinks he probably hates her. She told him about the telepathy and Kyoko interrupts her, telling her that since she's been listening to Takamori's thoughts, then she must know that Takamori isn't the guy to hate her over something like that. Minami replies that she doesn't know. She used to always know exactly what he's feeling, but now she has no clue. In fact, she's afraid to find out. But even so, she wants him to know how she feels and wonders if she'll be able to tell him. She sends him a text telling him that she needs to talk to him about something tomorrow. The next day comes and they meet at a park. He calls out to her and her heart skips a beat. He says hello and bows down. She stammers and replies hi. The two look at each other in awkward silence. She tries to talk about yesterday, but as she reads his mind, it's just a bunch of random things. She realizes that he's trying not to think about it. She apologizes and as she cries, tells him that I am sure you must hate the fact that I can read your thoughts. He looks at her and she continues. Whenever we're together, it's like you can't keep any secrets. So that's why you left, right? Because you hated it. He's flabbergasted. He pauses as he looks at her, tears going down her face. He explains that that's not true. He was shocked, but he didn't leave because he hated it. Everything that had happened in the past, he felt embarrassed that he could have died. He just didn't know how to face her. He hoped he didn't think anything weird, and he actually probably thought nothing but weird things. And she knew all this time. Like that one time, she looks at him and the other time and oh no. And the other time and she knew all along. She starts to get all nervous and shit. She asks him to hold on and stop remembering all of that because she can see that too. He attacks her with all the memories of the past and she puts her hand on his mouth, asking him to shut up. She looks at her hand and she looks back up at him. They're really close. They can feel each other's breaths. She tells him, I love you. She puts her hand away and starts sweating profusely. She steps back and he takes a deep breath. He wonders, what? Why? Since when? Surprising her. Kyoko congratulates Minami, telling her that she was wondering what she got up to during the summer break and that her and Takamori have finally been dating. Minami replies hesitantly, telling her that they're not actually dating. Confusing Kyoko. Kyoko asks, he confessed to you, right? And she replies, yes. And she tells her, and you confessed to him, right? And she replies, I did. So then how are you not dating? She asks. And Minami tells her, don't ask me. Kyoko questions her, so then you're still just classmates. Friends that sit next to each other. What kind of relationship do you have with Takamori now? Minami realizes she has a point. What exactly is this relationship between her and him? And more importantly, what does he think about her? She glances at him and wonders, does he still like me? Even though he knows I'm a telepath? He looks back, wondering, what should I have for lunch today? She watches on and realizes that he's thinking about other things to try to keep her from reading his mind. She knew it. Now that he knows she's a telepath, maybe he stopped liking her altogether. But this is for the best. She's finally managed to shut up Takamori. The end. Nah, I'm just fucking with y'all. This is what she wanted, right? It's so strangely quiet now. This is for the best. The day goes by and she meets up with Kyoko. Kyoko thinks that's awful. Minami explains that now she don't know what Takamori is thinking anymore and she's too afraid to ask him. Kyoko shouts at her, of course you don't know. She looks back, surprised, and Kyoko explains that after all, people are not normally telepaths. Nobody else knows what anybody is thinking. People worry about how other people really feel or if they might hurt them by saying something. They talk to each other while worrying about all kinds of things. Minami looks in surprise and tries to form a word. What am I supposed to do? She asks. Kyoko replies, if you don't know how he feels, then there's only one thing to do. Later, Minami invites Takamori to the rooftop, apologizing for asking him to come up all of a sudden. He replies that it's fine and thinks about that. They're in the rooftop again. She calls out his name and asks, how do you feel about me? Thinking, I've never thought that not knowing someone's thought could be this terrifying. Maybe he doesn't like me anymore. Maybe he hates me. Even still. Takamori didn't hesitate. He pulled her into his arms and said, I love you. Ever since I met you, even now, and from here on out, always. She began to cry, overwhelmed with relief. Between her tears, she thanked him and tried to ask if they were officially dating now. Stumbling over her words, Takamori smiled and agreed without hesitation. They both bowed awkwardly, almost like they were making a formal agreement rather than starting a romance. In his mind, Takamori's thoughts were clear. He loved her more than anyone in the world. Minami, still flustered from the moment, shouted for him to stop talking before dying of embarrassment. Takamori won't shut up. The end. A girl laughs while filming with her phone. Walk faster, you horse-faced freak. Kyoko Uzami. She purposefully overdoses on pills and gets reborn into a beautiful man. She vows to get her revenge.